Day 13. The ritual must commence tomorrow, despite the subject's high level of mental activity.
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them. Well, hello there, creatures, and welcome to another episode of Encounter This and our very special Gnollvember suite coming at you from quarantine in 2020. Turns out coronavirus is still a thing, and we're deep into late November, so I am, as you probably have already guessed, your host, James, Everybody Loves a Mime Kid, and with me presenting this episode, as always, is the wonderful, the beautiful, the Freeman, stinky like a cataplopus iced head. Well, that intro went sideways pretty quickly.
You fell into my trap, yes.
I guess so.
Evil finger-touching hands motion that you can't see.
Just so you listeners know, whoever writes the episode writes the nicknames, so I'm not calling him Stinky. He's calling him Stinky.
I
just happen to agree sometimes.
But I also thought it was quite satisfying to insist that James loves mimes.
It's not untrue in this sense. Yeah. I love the idea of mime, I think, is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going to talk about for the next hour? Just like the concept of mime?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's and the whole philosophy behind it.
Excellent.
We'll touch on Pierre the Clown and everything.
All right.
No, we're definitely not doing that.
Okay. Instead, I guess we're going to take a look at Leucrotta's. Leucrotta. From Volo's Guide to Monsters on page 169. We're calling it Leucrotta.
Leucrotta. I was a little bit on the fence of whether it's Leucrottas or Leucrotta. I'm a big fan of the whole Pokemon concept where they're all plural and singular at the same time. Look at all those Bulbasaur. So
that's not necessarily true.
It is in my mind.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's where I operate mostly.
Valid. That seems valid.
Yeah. Leucrotta. Did you say the page number? I missed that.
I did, yeah. Volo's Guide to Monsters 169 for anybody else who missed it.
Operating on my own mind, see? All right, Leucrottas. Let's do this. We're going to start with two direct quotes from Dungeons and Dragons lore.
All right, I love quotes.
First, yes, me too. I put a lot of them in these episodes these days. The first one comes from Volo's Guide to Monsters, and here's what Volo has to say. A Leucrotta is what you would get if you took the head of a giant badger, the brain of a person who likes to torture and eat people, the legs of a deer, and the body of a large hyena, put them together, and reanimate them with demon ichor, without bothering to cover up the stink of death.
Wow. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, but...
Yep. And that covers most of the physical description of this creature that I'm going to give. The other quote I especially liked gives a bit of a sense of danger. And this is almost book within a book here. This comes from a section known as the Great Grey Land of Thar that is in the 2E book, Elminster's Ecologies, which we've mentioned in the past.
Love Elminster.
Yeah, specifically we mentioned this book in Tree Ants when we came across our beloved wood-eating horses.
All right.
But in this section in this book, there is a quote that comes from another book called Pseudo-Biblia of Edigolf Aramor, a naturalist and sage. And he says, avoid this creature, travelers and even warriors, unless you are prepared to fight and do not expect to win.
That's a little bleak.
It is a little bit bleak. So Leucrottas are pretty cool. I like these guys. They're not anything outrageous necessarily or mind-bending, but I think they're cool. Now we kind of covered. We briefly mentioned them previously here in Gnollvember. And that they spawned, alongside gnolls during Yinogu's rampages on the material plane.
on a previous rampage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah. If I remember correctly, I think Leucrotta's came from his very first rampage.
That sounds right. Write in and let us know. Talking to you, Chris.
So some, of course, I'm just going to reiterate some of that. So hyenas, basically, that would scavenge and eat the Yeenoghu's kills would undergo different transformations, and many turned into Leucrotta. Leucrotta are about 9 feet or 2.74 meters long, and their legs end in cloven hooves, and their laughter is a mix between hyena and human. In fact, Leucrotta were easily the most numerous of the transformations that happened, second only to gnolls.
So there are other spawns of Yeenoghu out there that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and as far as researching the Leucrotta, I know you mentioned a few in previous episodes, like, in relation to gnolls and Leucrotta being on that list. I didn't see any reference in Leucrotta lore regarding other transformations, so not covering that.
Okay, gotcha.
But what is notable about the Leucrotta is that they are clever and cruel, and they love to deceive, torture, and kill. And they are more intelligent and tougher than gnolls, and can even occupy elevated positions within gnoll tribes.
All right, I'm into this idea because, there's a part of me that just does not believe these creatures speak at all. So I'm really interested to see how this goes.
Yeah. So them having elevated positions, however, rarely results them in being a leader of the tribe. However, it does put them in a position of influence with the actual leader. And they will basically have a position of advisement and sort of probably some control over the lesser peons of the tribe, if you will. And they will actually sometimes agree to carry said leader of a tribe into battle and offer combat advice mid-conflict.
Okay.
And so they're potentially a very intelligent mount.
Imagine riding into battle and your horse is telling you where to go.
It wouldn't be. It's not too foreign a concept if you're riding an intelligent creature like a dragon or maybe a unicorn or the Kirin, like what we covered. But so while Leucrottas are not actually terrifyingly intelligent, but rather their intelligence gives them a very sly cunning that supports their penchant for viciousness. And Leucrotta actually do no better than to stay in a territory where a more powerful predator may have entered. So this is where their intelligence lies. They're not just totally bestial. They also think better of attacking settlements of humanoids, knowing that if they murder a few, it can spark outrage and coordination in the many of these settlements. And rather, they employ their cunning by setting traps, and they are made most effective, these traps, by their simplicity. So, referencing Elminster's ecologies, they do give a couple of examples. There was once known to be a group of Leucrottas that once stole the torches of a pilgrim caravan, and then they set them up and ignited them in a nearby deserted keep, making it look like it was occupied. And they used their deceptive skills and coaxed the caravan into the keep before splitting up and devouring as many of the pilgrims as they could. So very simple, but, effective.
Yeah, that's very effective.
Now, they're able to do this through a gift they have of mimicry, and of course, their slightly heightened intelligence. And they're actually able to intuit usefulness of not just other creatures' languages, but colloquial jargon. So they can mimic the speech without knowing the language. And they can even quickly discern that something is very unique to these individuals. So, for example, if they stumble upon a thieves' den and overhear code words or slang that the thieves use, they can cleverly re-employ these words and phrases with convincing accuracy.
Right.
So again, that cunning and that slyness.
That makes me very curious as to how high their intelligence is, because I live in this society and I can't even replicate the colloquial jargon very well.
Yeah, I mean, we are notorious now for our terrible pronunciations and our differing interpretations.
Also, like, what are the kids saying these days? Like, that's what they're talking about. Is that
What are the kids saying?
them street rap battles and things that they're
Oh man, yeah, no. Well, to be fair, that has nothing to do with our intuitiveness and our intelligence, but rather our age. I think I think you hit a wall at a certain age, or various certain ages, in which you just stop learning new, cultural things.
I suppose, especially stuff
such
that,
as
like, develops with
the jargon of the youngins, and finding new music.
right?
You
But
just
not
have
if
to
you're
rely on the old.
Leucrotta. Like, these guys know what's happening.
They know what's up.
They're jive cats.
And it might play into some other attributes they have that we're gonna cover here.
Okay, cool.
So to all of these ends, Gnolls see Leucrotta as a form of entertainment. And this is thanks to the Leucrotta's ability to mimic the screams of tortured and suffering prey. This is part of their repertoire.
Okay.
And this sound actually gives Gnolls pleasure. And it also marks a definitive difference between the two creatures. Gnolls, by nature, are actually unable to prolong the suffering and killing of their victims. Their bloodlust and sadistic natures disallow them from taking their time. And they cannot extend the, quote, fun of killing. They have to just get the kill. So it's kind of like a Labrador retriever with food. They can't stop themselves.
Taking your word on that one.
Yeah, I mean that's an actual breed thing of, like, black lab or a brown lab or something like that, or chocolate lab. You have to monitor their food intake because they will not stop eating.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so Leucrotta, however, they are meticulous in their savagery. They are consciously cruel, and they draw out the pain and the kill as if it were a sport. And they sort of, as a result, in a slightly similar to the Gnoll's nature, they cannot stop hunting. They can't help themselves from hunting. So even when they're well fed, they don't stop hunting. They keep going. This is probably, part of what I was saying earlier. Maybe that's part of their ability to continue this adaptation to the jargon and the language and the mimicry, because they just practice, go, go, go. It's what they do. Weird is right. Yeah. Gnolls actually derive so much joy from watching the Leucrottas in action that it's apparently nearly as satisfying as doing the killing themselves. And if they can manage to hold themselves, back and witness it. The next thing I want to say too, I hate this part about the Leucrotta, and not about the Leucrotta, but the writing surrounding Leucrotta and some other creatures. But basically, Leucrotta are supposed to be considered to be loathsome, so loathsome that only Gnolls can stand to be around them within extended periods of time. I feel like I'm tired of this trope where a creature can't be standed, and I feel like it's a tired attempt at emphasis for how loathsome they are. And I feel like it's a weird...
I understand it in this particular context, right? Like, imagine you have a friend who just can't stop quoting Dane Cook. Like, that's what the Leucrottas are. Like, they just keep dropping Dane Cook jokes.
Oh no!
And like you just can't get out of it. So like you just don't want to be around him anymore. They can only hang out with other people who drop Dane Cook jokes.
A pretty fair comparison. But I mean, so I like that, because when I was reading through this and this part came up, the thing that bothered me the most is that I guess the way it's presented is it just sort of assumes that you know why. Here's all the information, and so and of course no one can stand them except for Gnolls. And to me, I just feel like it's a bit lazy. You just made up a really good point, but they didn't give me a point. They didn't say, and it's because of these things. And that's what I'm kind of tired of. And I'm not 100% sure we've covered it a lot necessarily on our episodes, but you and I both read a lot of lore and creatures and stuff regularly, and doing this podcast is a practice in sort of analyzing how a creature is written, how the story and lore is written, and I feel like that's something I just come across too often. This disgusting sadistic creature is too awful for anyone to stand it, except there's a whole bunch of other ones that are awful and sadistic and no one can stand them. Surely they can stand each other at some point. It's just, to me, it feels lazy. Yeah.
I, in this particular context, I think it works better than any others because they're just... Leucrottas are going to do what Leucrottas do. Like, that's what you said earlier. So, like, it has nothing to do with the ability of the other creatures to stand it, really, as opposed to this is just what Leucrottas are. And I think it makes a little more sense in the context that they're both specific spawns of Yeenoghu. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to stand like the older brother and the younger brother, right? Like, this is this all of a sudden becomes a sibling war, whereas the older brother is just super annoying, and the only one who finds him funny is the younger brother.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, fair points for sure. I don't have much to say against that.
Well, I mean, they're the points that you made earlier.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, that definitely part of that lore. But I guess the only thing I could say, opposed to that, it's not even really opposed. It's more that it says like no one can stand them for lengths of period of time. It's not that I feel like anyone should enjoy their company. I feel like there's definitely creatures that just won't care if they're around. You know what I mean? They just would be nonchalant, totally neutral. Like a lich probably wouldn't give two shits if a Leucrotta was kicking around.
Right. I can only say this because I'm a reformed Dane Cook fan, but I want to point you back to my Dane Cook analogy earlier. Like, you could stand it, but you're not going to. Yeah. You're just not going to put up with that shit for an extended period of time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, okay, and so let's move on to the next thing and kind of throw this whole debate out the window.
Oh, great. I love that. Let's just piss away 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we piss away hours, don't we?
I think that should just be our new tagline. Encounter this. Piss away time.
Welcome to Encounter This. Piss away an hour with us.
I like that. That's going to be the open to our streams.
Leucrottas do have this excretion of awful stench that constantly comes to their body, and they pollute any area that they lair in. I thought this was oddly appropriate since the last creature I covered was the Catoplopus who does the exact same thing.
I also feel like this probably could have been listed before we talked about the creatures just can't stand them. Like,
right.
I think this just compounds it. Not only are they annoying as fuck, they smell funny.
Right? And apparently their breath is even stinkier than their bodies. Okay. In fact, its mouth is apparently constantly dripping saliva filled with corrupted rot and digestive juices. They're just slobbering all over the place. So, I don't know. Big bloodhound face, just droopy cheeks. Yeah, kind of cute.
It does kind of look like a pug.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the pictures real quick. The first three pictures have a bit of synergy from the first, second, and third editions.
They've definitely got that badger head for sure. Yeah, they look fast. The second one kind of looks like a hippo.
They've got like greyhound bodies, man. Like, the second one is a little bit hippo-ish, but especially that third edition one, it looks like a properly fast, like racing hound.
It's real good dynamic art too.
Yeah. The fourth edition one looks much more like...
That's my favorite.
Is it? Yeah.
It's really got that honey badger face, and it almost looks like ethereal. It's on a pile of skulls. Like,
it gives me like if you're looking at a were hyena like animal form, that's what I feel like it would look like. It's got this sort of... we covered the word the other day. What was it? The therianthrope?
Therianthrope, yeah.
Therianthrope, yeah. Therianthropic feel to me.
I guess. I when I look at that, I see a badger head.
Yeah. No, for sure. It is a little bit more weaselly, isn't it?
Yeah. Mustelids.
Ooh.
Yeah.
New word.
There's your word for the day, listeners. Mustelid. But it is the name for the badger weasel ferret family.
Okay, nice. I actually do like the 5e work quite a bit, though.
I do not. I don't understand
no?
what's happening there at all. Like, I like it for the fact that it really, really shoots home that this thing is chimera, but like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what I look like in the morning, you know, like just not great. Like it's kind of bald.
It is how I sometimes imagine your attitude.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, just really standoffish.
Yeah. The next picture that I did send you, we'll cover that real quick. It's apparently two hill giants hunting Leucrotta. You can kind of see them on the bottom right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's
One looks
a
like
neat
it's
picture.
literally exploding out of a mountain.
Yep. It's a neat-ish picture, I guess I should say. It's a little bit strange.
These things are big.
Yeah, they're sizable. Absolutely. Well, I'll cover another very distinct physical feature on them now too. So, despite all of these stinky features, what that would normally deter anyone from bothering to approach. Of course, they do have a couple of advantages they can use, and one is their tracks are indistinguishable from the common deer. So those cloven hooves, they give no evidence of a deadly creature nearby when you're, tracking. Yeah. And they, of course, we've been alluding to their ability to perfectly mimic the sounds and vocal expressions of just about any creature that they have heard. So it's not just the screams of their kills and the jargon, but like any creature that they have heard before.
Right.
Which brings us to the final physical feature regarding its mouth. And it's that they don't have fangs, but rather they have ridges of bone. And they are as hard as steel and capable of crushing bone and lacerating flesh.
So it's kind of like a snake.
Yeah, they have single ridges of bone, like on the top and bottom of their jaws, which they actually seem to totally ignore in the 5e art, because they do have pointed bits there. I can't really see if they're full ridges. I'm sure they are, but they have a bit of a fang-like thing going on.
That's exactly the same shape as a snake's jaw.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So a snake skull has its bottom lower jaw is. I want to use the word bifurcated, but that's the name for its tongue. It's not one piece. It's actually two pieces, and that's how snakes can open their mouths so wide. Is when the lower jaw opens, the jawbone actually separates at the center, and that's kind of what this looks like to me.
Crazy cool. Actually, that will kind of come back to that. I'm glad you said that, because that's not something I really knew, but it makes sense, because I knew they could like sort of unhinge their jaw or something. Snakes.
Yeah. One of my coffee table picture books is called Skulls, and it's just pictures of this guy's skull collection.
Cool. That's awesome.
I'll link it in the show notes. It's really cool. I like it a lot.
I'd say the 3E art actually does a pretty good interpretation of that just these flat ridged bones.
Right.
Now, these ridges were hard as steel, and they were not only capable of crushing bone and lacerating flesh, as I said, but they were so tough that they could actually peel plate armor from a defeated foe. They could just rip armor off,
Okay, so they're jaws.
Yeah, they're very powerful. Yeah.
That's Jaws from James Bond, not Jaws the shark.
Oh, okay.
For those of you keeping score at home,
I didn't think of either as that. You're like, oh, they just have a jaw. I'm like, well, obviously.
Oh no, he's got like this metal plate in his mouth that allows him to bite down on shit.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah. And then from there, I've got a couple honorable mentions.
Okay.
As far as the lore goes, there was a type of Leucrotta that was tainted with doppelganger blood.
Sweet.
And they were called change steeds. And they basically had a stronger craving for human flesh specifically, and they would transform into a rider's mount and take on the duties of said mount for a while until they could get the rider alone and devour them.
Whoa.
So they had this specific strategy, yeah. And they could just straight up turn into a horse, essentially, a paladin's horse, and wait till they were on their own and just eat them, in their sleep and camping out for the night or something.
Love that.
And there were also legendary Leucrottas in the abyss, and they specifically resided in the Iron Wastes. And these were actually far more powerful than the material plane versions, and they actually possessed regenerative abilities, had an immunity to frost, a vulnerability to extreme heat, and they reached up to 30 feet or 9.1 meters in length.
That's a lot of meters.
It's a lot of meters.
Is that like a school bus? That's got to be like a school bus.
Probably, yeah, ridiculous. Very, very large. And then I've got a couple of fun facts. So there was actually quite a bit extra lore that I've not really totally covered, but it's not like super in depth. It's like story lore. It's a little bit more ecological, I guess. Suffice it to say, I did come across some older edition evidence of them actually teaming up with other creatures, as so long as it was mutually beneficial. Of course, they did not they were not cowed easily or anything, and this was actually quite rare, and not because the Leucrotta would refuse, but rather most people would think twice of teaming up with them, because if at any point the agreement did not seem mutually beneficial anymore, the Leucrotta was very quick to sort of proverbially stab their teammate in the back.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
just betray them. Yeah.
I definitely thought you were going to go with a bite the hand that feeds reference.
No, that wouldn't be proverbial, would it?
That's what I was. I had that in the barrel ready to correct you.
No. Oh, you didn't get me. Oh.
I know. I let Dieter go earlier, and I'm starting to regret it.
And then as far as ecology goes, there are a couple small interesting things that connect to some later stuff. But basically, males and females were nearly impossible to distinguish without close inspection. And males would stay with the females while pregnant, but immediately departed after the offspring is born. The interesting part of this is, they just took right off.
No, that's not interesting. That's like what happens in the wild. That's what badgers do.
Oh, yeah.
That's what bears do. That's pretty... It's that the first offspring of Yeenoghu could reproduce, but the second can't. That's what blows my mind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because gnolls don't reproduce. It's the hyenas that make more gnolls.
Oh, that's right. We covered that, yeah. Very interesting, yeah. But here in this case, there's sort of this assumption that maybe the Leucrotta can. Now, that being said, I'm pretty sure this comes from second edition stuff, because this is some Elminster ecology shit. Right. Very likely, anyway. I don't have the exact reference for it right now, but on top of the male departing right away, the female would become more ravenous and crazed and would hunt harder and faster, and doing this to provide her young with two things. One being obvious, food, and two, aiding in its development of its mimicry. So the young learns to copy the screams of tortured victims from birth.
Okay.
And then one other thing I had here was that calves came in singles or pairs, and they were born at the size of a fucking bear.
What kind of bear are we talking about here, Fred?
It didn't say.
We're talking about like a red panda?
No, we're talking like, brown bear or some such.
Right.
Your average North American bear.
Your average. Well, I mean, like black bears are much, much smaller than brown bears.
Right.
Brown bears are pretty big. I remember I've run into a few brown bears and black bears in my time, but we're talking like a Klondike. Like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, not a polar bear. I don't think like a polar bear, because they're the biggest.
Klondikes and polar bears. Klondike is a grizzly bear, is the other name.
Right, yeah, grizzly. I mean, they didn't specify what bear. A Faerun bear, I'm sure.
So, for those of you who have never run into like an average size adult black bear, they're about 6 to 7 feet tall. Your average size brown bear is about 8 to 10 feet tall, and as far as I know, I've never run into a grizzly or polar bear, but they're like 10 to 14 feet tall on their hind legs.
Yeah.
Bears are big, and they are as docile as they are for the most part. They are fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah, terrifying. And so the Leucrotta is like the average Leucrotta is about 9 feet in length. So I mean,
got it.
Yeah, and like so, it's safe to assume that it's not one of those top tier size bears.
So it's probably a black bear, like a North American black bear.
Yeah, but it's also worth considering. Imagine the belly on the pregnant female of having 2 in there.
I can't. No.
It would be outrageous. Yeah, and that would definitely be why the male needs to stick around until birth at least, because that's probably not very mobile.
It's like a full size African lion in there.
Yeah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And the very last thing I have for fun facts, and it's not even that fun of a fact. I did send you an example of the picture, but there was a variation of the creature that appears in the Harry Potter verse, specifically in the film. That's what that thing is. Specifically in the film Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. So not even the proper Harry Potter series. And they're
better movies.
Debatably,
no,
yes.
That's not true. The first one is a better movie.
I didn't really like Crimes of Grindelwald, but I did enjoy the first Fantastic Beasts.
I really like Johnny Depp as that one as Grindelwald, and Jude Law. Was it Jude Law as Dumbledore?
Jude Law as Dumbledore. Yeah,
yeah, that was sweet.
So I mean, you could see this creature look at the way it can open its mouth, and so I was like glad you brought up the snake thing.
Yeah, now, it's weird looking.
Aside from that already loose connection, there's not much here that's related to the creature we have at all. Like, it's got the cloven hooves, and it's a bit chimeric, but that's about it. Nothing else seems to fit the mold, and it makes me wonder why they even called it a Leucrotta. That must have just been like, yep, that works. Cloven hooves, paste that on.
I mean, that's how Gygax got Knowles.
Fair enough.
Kind of been keeping in tradition.
Yeah.
I like the name. Yeah. We'll take it. Change everything about it. Love it.
And we're on board.
Except Gygax changed the spelling of it as well.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I guess whoever wrote Crimes of Grindelwald didn't give us that courtesy. This is a weird looking creature. I can't tell if its mouth is open in the bigger pictures, or if that's just like a piece underneath its mouth. It looks like its lower jaw's still up there, and its tongue's like built into its mouth lining. It's weird, and I don't like it.
It's really weird. Yeah. It's a bit terrifying.
A little bit, yeah. Take like your regular gazelle. Put a really big beard on it. Take a gazelle, tape a bullhorn under its mouth, and then put a beard on the bullhorn.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Weird.
Well, that's it for the D&D lore. No small amount. Pretty decent. Right. Good discussion.
So now is when we're going to dig into that Harry Potter lore, I guess, right?
No, we actually have some proper cultural lore for this creature.
Fuck right off, really?
Yeah, we do. So
same root word as terracotta, I'm guessing.
No, certainly not. Right. In fact, this is the second strange connection to my previous covered creature. That not only do they both stink, but they both have a connection to Ethiopia. In fact, in the cultural lore, we have a couple different pronunciations. We have a few different pronunciations across the board here, but known as Crocotta, Korocotta, or Leucrotta. They are a mythical dog wolf of India or Ethiopia.
Sorry, Leucrotta sounds like a tepid pot. Is it a crocotta? Well, it's kind of lukewarm as a crocotta.
Yeah.
It's a Leucrotta.
Yeah.
May or may not be a crocotta.
So apparently, they're in this way that they are a dog wolf, but they also have a link to hyenas. And they are considered to be a deadly enemy of men and dogs. And yeah, we have. Are you ready for some familiar names?
Well, it depends on how you define familiar.
I keep bringing them up.
Oh, okay. Then yes.
Somehow I do creatures, and all of these guys keep showing up. So we have Strabo, Greek geographer, philosopher, and historian. He called them crocuttas and described them as a mixed progeny of wolf and dog. Our dear friend Pliny the Elder has made a return.
Friend of the show. Friend of Sawbones.
Friend of the show, yeah.
Delicious beer.
In his famous work, Natural History, he called them a crocotta as well, and they were a combination of either a dog and wolf, or a lion and hyena.
Right.
For
That
some
makes
reason,
sense to
we
me.
had two options. Yeah, and
I mean, don't ask me. Ask Pliny.
I have a really great quote from his natural history here I'm going to read.
Okay, before you get into that, I just wanted to say that I've been an avid listener of Sawbones for like 5 years now, give or take.
Yeah.
And when we started this, I never would have dreamed that he comes up in our show as often as he comes up in that show. And it blows my mind every time.
That guy covered everything.
He was like an educational boss.
Yeah, what a legend! And just imagine too. It's a lot of his work that survived. There was probably plenty of others doing similar work at the time. You know, at least a good amount. The work just never survived.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Quote me, or hit me with that quote, I guess is probably a more accurate turn of phrase.
smooth.
Loving every minute of it.
Among the shepherd's homesteads, it simulates human speech and picks up the name of one of them so as to call him to come out of doors and tear him to pieces. And also that it imitates a person being sick to attract the dogs so that it may attack them. That this animal alone digs up corpses. That a female is seldom caught. That its eyes have 1,000 variations of color. Moreover, that when its shadow falls on dogs, they are struck dumb. And that it has certain magic arts by which it causes every animal at which it gazes 3 times to stand rooted to the spot. When crossed with this race of animals, the Ethiopian lioness gives birth to the Leucrotta, that mimics the voices of men and cattle in a similar way. It has an unbroken ridge of bone in each jaw, forming a continuous tooth without any gum.
Okay, so we've got some shit to unpack there.
What a great quote. I love that one.
This dude is just an absolute champion at making shit up. Like,
Yeah.
he would be so goddamn famous right now. Just
man.
like the world's
Right?
greatest fiction writer.
I mean, that also, though, like, he didn't necessarily make it all up. He just wrote down what everyone was telling him sometimes, I'm sure, right? So-
Right, but he was like the Brothers Grimm before the Brothers Grimm. Like,
Seriously.
as far as we
so
can
good.
tell, this dude invented fairy tales and shit. But, you know, he presented it as facts, which,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, the Brothers Grimm also did. And I guess technically we are also doing, because we are presenting this as fact in a very specific context. So, come from a long line of people who are lying to you, listeners.
Semantics on the word fact there, but they still apply.
Yeah, I think it does. I
The
think
fact is, all of these things exist somewhere.
we are our generation's Pliny the Elder. Okay, so the Leucrotta is the thing that mates with the Ethiopian lioness to give birth to the Korokkata. Is that what I'm picking up here?
So the Leucrotta, mates with the lioness, becomes a Korokkata, and the Korokkata is what is able to mimic the voices of men and cattle.
So how do we get the Leucrotta then?
Dog and wolf, or lion and hyena.
So this quote wasn't about the Leucrotta. This was about the Crocotta?
This quote was about the Crocotta, which
Okay.
is more or less the inspiration for a Leucrotta.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's almost too many like pronunciations. They're just like they just got lost in time or whatever.
Yeah, I just would have thought one was a
constantly
typo or some
change.
shit.
Yeah.
But they're actually two different creatures. Okay.
So we have some obvious some obvious inspirations for the D&D lore right out of the gate. But before we cover them, I'm going to continue forward because we have a second quote from Pliny the Elder.
Of course.
Who
Why wouldn't we?
And this is where he covers the second beast called Leucrotta.
Got it.
So this is why we have 3 different names for this creature, because
I'm really glad we drink when we do this.
Yeah. So the Leucrotta was a hyena-like creature that is described as such: the swiftest of all beasts, about the size of an ass, with a stag's haunches, a lion's neck, tail and breast, badger's head, cloven hoof, mouth opening right back to the ears, and ridges of bone in place of rows of teeth. This animal is reported to imitate the voices of human beings.
I mean, that's it right there, isn't it? Like,
yeah, more or less.
Problem solved.
I don't really know why these are separate creatures at all, according to Pliny, or any of this sort of ancient lore. But they are, the Crocotta
maybe got paid by the word.
The lion becomes the Leucrotta, and then the Leucrotta is just there as well and does similar things and is similar for no reason.
Right. Completely different and separate from these things.
Yep. Totally separate creature, but shares a certain number of things. Yeah, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right. Convergent evolution, I think, is what is
even Pliny here. Couldn't distinguish between, two different superstitions coming from the same spot. Just clearly they've branched off, and he's just covered both of them like they're both fact.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. But a longtime pal of ours, Claudius Aelianus, also mentions these creatures in his book on the characteristics of animals. And another friend of the show, Jorge Luis Borgia.
Aww.
He mentions... love that
Borgia.
Guy. He mentions Crocotta and Leucrotta in his book of imaginary beings, which is like now fastly becoming one of my most read PDFs. He mostly just recounts Pliny's descriptions, but he speculates for some reason that both creatures, or they're one and the same, that they are a cumbersome blend of the Indian antelope and the hyena. So he's thrown in the antelope there.
Right, which I guess makes more sense for some of these interpretations. Mm-hmm. Cumbersome is a very specific adjective there, though.
Yeah, it is a strange one. A cumbersome blend.
Or is it an adverb in this context? Is the blend cumbersome, or is the creature that's been blended cumbersome?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Write in and tell us what you think, listeners.
Maybe I didn't do enough of the quote. I don't know. But go find yourself a PDF as well of the Book of Imaginary Beings. You can get that for free.
It'll be linked in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure. So claims there were also claims that one of these creatures was brought to Rome by Emperor Lucius Septimius Severus, and there was also one brought by Emperor Antoninus Pius and Antoninus Pius. I don't know how to say that. Antoninus Pius.
I think you nailed it the first time. Antoninus Pius.
I was actually I was reading this earlier, and recently I was listening to some actual pronunciation of Latin, and I just it dawned on me. It was like, I know we're not that great at pronunciation with all these various languages that are not English, but sweet Lord, we don't even get the ones we're semi-confident right.
We get them culturally right. Culture is decided to pronounce differently than true Latin. Yeah. First of all, nobody speaks Latin, so nobody knows what it actually sounds like. No, because there are plenty of people in Europe that still speak Latin. I don't think that's true. I think Latin.
No, it's 100% true. Norway has an all Latin world news channel that airs every night.
Really?
100%. Yeah.
Latin.
Yep.
All right.
Latin. All done in Latin. Yeah. That's part of what I was watching the other day, that I was like, we're so bad at this. Of course, it's not traditional like Latin. No one knows how it was pronounced way back when, but it's still not the way we do it. That's for sure.
No, for sure. I mean, English is a Germanic language that just has Latin roots. We're doing the best we can. I don't.
We're not apologizing anymore. How about that? There's no more apologies, guys.
Unless Latin's your first language, then you can come at me and I'll specifically apologize to you.
I won't. Forget it. James is the one on Twitter.
I mean, you got to respect the hill he's chosen to die on, listeners.
I do have another interesting thing. So there is a recount of this creature that comes from sources in the Middle Ages, and it's just basically the same thing, but they add something. And what they add is, I have another quote for you. It says, the eyes of Leucrotta were striped gems that could give the possessor oracular powers when placed on the tongue.
You know, the Middle Ages were really just history's redneck cousin.
Oh, man, weren't they?
We were doing so well right up until then.
It's like, sometimes they remind me of like, ancient Greek, like, religion and oracles and that sort of thing. This one's a pretty obvious comparison. But at least the Greeks were like sort of creative with it.
And then you realize that this was like 800 years ago.
Yeah, right. And the Middle Ages is just such a hack job of everything. That's bad. But the last thing I have to say is that, and this is sort of another fun fact, the scientific name for the spotted hyena, which I've shown you a picture of, is taken from the mythical stories. So the scientific name is Crocuta crocuta. Quite simply.
That's not even spelled kind of the same.
Yes, it is. It's just not the double T. Oh. Yeah, not the double T. And there's
oh, yeah,
there.
yeah, okay, yeah, I see it.
Which
I
is
it's
reminiscent of the first guy I mentioned, Strabo.
Yeah, okay, I had to go back and find that.
This might be an episode where people need to follow the show notes. It's getting a little hairy.
You can just fast forward through this part, listeners.
Yeah. Instagram on your phone, show notes on your computer. Noise canceling headset on. Focus. Put the sleep mask on if you have to.
This has now become an active adventure.
So, I mean, the main differences and similarities, between these two lores, to me, is like strongly reflected in hyenas in general. They're both taking from the hyena, and they all, both versions share a certain number of things with the hyena. So, hyenas' laughs are famously human-like. They are known to digest a wide variety of food and prey. They do dig up dead humans for food, which is more of the cultural lore side of things. They do have powerful teeth and jaws, which is definitely reflected in both. And they are known to be difficult to distinguish from the males and females, apparently.
Interesting.
But otherwise, it all seems to be, built out of the same thing for both sides, I think. I think there's some obvious, things in the cultural lore that don't exist in the D&D lore, but I think rightly so in this case. I don't feel like there's anything missing that I would from the cultural lore that I would like to have in the D&D.
No, I think you're right, and I think they really nailed making this thing a creature of Yeenoghu. Mm-hmm. I don't know what came first, Yeenoghu or the Leucrotta for D&D inspiration. But whoever put these two together, I think they did a bang-up job.
Yeah. The only thing that's like starkly missing, not that I want it necessarily, but it is very stark, it is the whole gem eyes on the tongue, becoming an oracle. It's so out there. But you could play with it.
I'm okay with that. Like, I don't mind having gem tongue eyes, but I don't need it. Like, that's the kind of thing I would leave for like a golem.
Right. Yeah, totally. Use that for inspiration on something different.
Yeah, or this if you're feeling crazy. Maybe you want to make the Leucrotta, like the progenitor of the Leucrotta race. Then maybe they have gem eye tongues.
Yeah, get creative. Brought to you by Jameson Freeman with full confidence in the idea. Not.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just so outside of everything else we've talked about that
it really is.
Like, again, I like the idea.
It almost makes you want to force it in somehow. There's got to be a way.
There is. I know there is because I've seen a bunch of Guillermo del Toro videos. So I'm picturing like an antelope head with like a tongue that has an eye in it, and Doug Jones is obviously playing this creature. Like I can see it. I just don't see it in this particular instance.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally.
Thank you, Doug Jones, for all your hard All right, so these creatures are pretty familiar to their cultural lore, aside from the aforementioned gem and eyes on the tongue thing, which is great. You know, I always love to see that reflected in the regular, in the D&D lore. I know we talk about this. I feel like every episode, like these D&D creatures are just created so well. They do really do justice to everything they represent, as does Strange Fellow's Blackmail Northwest Stout. It really is a brilliant version of a Northwestern milk stout.
A solid representation.
Maybe even the best there is.
Oh my god, what a segue.
That was off the dome too. You can have that.
just improvising, eh?
I am really good at segues, or at least I feel like I'm really good at segues.
We don't have time for improvisation, James. This is strictly scripted. You know this.
Well, I know this, but our listeners also know that these are all not scripted because it just says ad break in big bold red letters in our show.
Wrong. No way. No, I'm actually an extraordinary scriptwriter, and all this banter. No, okay. Mechanics. Let's go to mechanics.
I just peeked when I giggled there.
Yeah. Yeah. Great scriptwriter. Apparently, we're amazing actors as well.
Correct.
To be able to pull it off.
Yeah. Well, one of us is an amazing actor. The other one is me.
You just keep on keeping on.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not upset about that.
What CR do you think these creatures are?
Honestly, like after everything we've talked about, I legitimately think they're like 15 or 16. Like they're smarter and stronger and bigger than gnolls. They're smarter and stronger and bigger than regular humans. There's literally a cave drawing of them taking on hill giants in a valley where one is exploding out of the side of a hill. Like these things to be fair,
the description of that was that the hill giants were hunting them, not that they were hunting the hill giants.
Yeah, I mean that's not what this looks like. There's literally one exploding out of the side of a hill, like howling up in the moon.
It's not a great depiction.
No, it's a really, really poor drawing in every sense of the word, except
really
for
get the point across at all.
No, the perspective is really good though. Like it's really
check out our Instagram for that one, guys. Yeah,
really good line drawing. But like, I want you to circle in red the one blowing out of the side of the mountain because I think you'll miss it on a first glance.
I'll try to remember to do that. Yeah.
Disappointing.
I'm sorry to say they're more powerful and intelligent than I think just the base gnoll, and that's about it because they're only a CR3.
Boo.
Boo is right.
These things couldn't even take on a Flynn.
Right. So I wish they were at least close to the highest CR of the variety of gnolls.
I was 9 last episode, if I remember.
Yeah.
Correctly. So
like I do find that no, it's not 100% fair of us to just like straight compare that, but it also kind of is like just the way they describe that, and their role in like even in a tribe and how they, entertain the gnolls and stuff. I don't see why they can't be up there with the Flint. But they aren't. They aren't. So prepared to be underwhelmed. but there's consistency. They are consistent at the very least with gnolls and how they work. So okay. So CR3 HP is 67. AC of 14, natural armor. They are a large creature and considered a monstrosity. Definitely chaotic evil. They do speak Abyssal and Gnoll.
Okay, I'm into that.
Yeah. And there's no damage immunities or resistances or condition immunities to speak of. They do have dark vision, and they've got a little boost to deception and perception.
Underwhelmed so far.
Yeah. Their beefiest stat is their strength, and everything else is pretty middling. Charisma is quite low. Their intelligence is 9.
Fuck right off with that shit. 9. They speak 2 languages. Get out of here.
I knew you wouldn't like that.
Oh,
they're
man.
they're barely more intelligent than the average human.
I'm having a
Like,
physical
which,
reaction to that.
a commoner is like maybe an 8 or something like that. I don't know.
I think a commoner's an 8. I don't know for sure, but like it's like the physical sensation of anger that you feel every now and again. Like that's how that's making me feel.
Yeah, it's they missed it on the stat block so far. They've got the old classic bestial keen smell for their under their abilities. So advantage on smell-based perception checks.
A commoner in 5e is 10s across board.
No kidding.
So a commoner is smarter than these things, mechanically speaking.
So apparently they're smarter than the base Gnoll, which we haven't covered yet. But they're no smarter than the humans. They apparently trick all the time. So maybe make some adjustments there if need be.
Mr. Perkins, I'm going to need you to call me in the morning. This shit is messed up.
Not okay, man. They do have an ability that I kind of like. It's called Kicking Retreat. So when they are attacking with their hooves, they can disengage as a bonus action.
Okay.
So, nothing too special, but it's a little extra something. They, of course, have mimicry. So they can mimic the sound of animal and humanoid voices. It's a DC 14 insight check to tell if they are imitations. We don't see many insight checks when it comes to creature stat blocks, so a little bit of a variation there.
No, but I like that. I don't find insight is used. But I don't really know how to phrase this because I use insight all the time.
Right.
In the conversations that I have with other people about how they run their games with D&D, because I don't play 5e, apparently.
You just run it, yeah.
It doesn't ever seem to come up as much. So I like the use of it mechanically.
I think my personal opinion on that is I think that insight is a more subtle skill in how it's used and the way it's described in the rules. And because 5e is such an introductory, a really good introductory system for people, the sort of nuances of things like insight, I think, are lost on new players and not always explored unless like sort of forced upon you. It's like, as we've discussed before, you and I play a lot more Pathfinder and Starfinder these days on top of 5e, and you see it a lot more in those games. They're called sense motive instead, but it's essentially the same thing, right?
I agree completely. I think insight is almost exclusively a social check. In the way most people run their games, but I don't run it as exclusively a social check. I run it as like a theoretical check too. Like sometimes I'll have you guys roll an insight check in place of a history check because you're not rolling to recall the knowledge, you're rolling to interpret the knowledge. And I think
to intuit.
Yeah, and I think that's
a connection between things. Yeah, totally.
I think that's a use that's lacking. So
yeah.
But let us know, listeners, how you use it in your game. If you find that it's a lacking skill, or if you like the idea of using it as an intuitive skill.
Yeah. They also have Rampage, which we've already discussed. Yeah. So they're keeping in theme with that. I'll just quickly review that again for the listeners. When it reduces a creature to 0 HP with a melee attack on its turn, as a bonus action, it can move up to half its speed and attack with its hooves.
All right.
But yeah, basically broken down and discussed in the previous episodes. And as far as their attacks go, they are able to make 2 attacks, 1 bite and 1 with the hooves.
I would have been so fucking mad if they didn't have a bite attack, Freeman. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, with those boned ridges. Yeah.
Well, so far it's been all hooves, but who gives a shit about their hooves?
Yeah.
They can literally cut through a breastplate with their mouth. Like, who gives a shit if they rampage with their hooves?
Actually, to be clear, it was explicitly written in a way that it was like they could peel the plate armor off a defeated foe, but no mid combat tearing through. They didn't quite have that kind of power.
I don't understand what the difference is. Metal doesn't change its consistency because the person wearing it is dead.
I think it's just more about whether or not they can get a hold and do it, active. Gotcha. Effectively while fighting an active enemy versus an inactive one.
Right. The logistics of having the shape of a badger-shaped face.
Exactly. What was the technical term for badgers again?
Well, I mean, they're technically called badgers, but the family name is mustelids.
That's the one.
There's like a badger exhibit at a museum Jess and I went to. It was like a whole mustelated exhibit. I really fucking got down with it. It was awesome.
That's awesome. I'm down. That's wicked. Aminals am cool.
Yeah. That's why we do this show.
I mean, both bite and hooves have a +6 to hit, and the bite's a 1d8, and the hooves are a 2d4. Piercing and bludgeon. Piercing, actually. I wasn't so sure about that since they're not teeth per se, but I guess they still kind of pierce.
There's literally no other type of damage that they could be.
Yeah, based on the just the function of a jaw around flesh. But yeah, there you go.
I mean, teeth can't slash, so it's kind of gotta be piercing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or bludgeoning, I guess technically, if
pinching damage. Can we do pinching damage?
We could bludgeon with molars and stuff.
Kind of like when you get your you go to the movie theater or like a sporting stadium. I don't do sports.
Back in the before times.
Back in the before times, when you somehow you manage to like pinch the arm of your skin in like the putting the chair down, or I'm trying to think of an example, but you know what I mean, right?
I understand what pinched flesh feels like when it's not
just like, but
pinched.
when you get those really bad ones where it's between two like really solid big edges, you get a big piece of your skin. That's what it is. Pinch damage. I would invent a whole new type of damage just for this creature.
Okay. I mean, they both start with P. You could just use piercing, but I respect your choice to homebrew this. That's kind of...
And barbarians, when they're raging, have a vulnerability to pinching damage. Because why not?
My first instinct would be to give them a vulnerability to tickling damage, but it's your campaign, bud.
This works too. But that's it for the stat block. That's it.
Underwhelming as fuck. I mean, I like that they speak Abyssal and Gnoll, but like...
Mm-hmm. But the only cool part...
is that they speak. And I mean, I don't even technically know if they do speak. Do they speak?
They do speak.
Okay.
Yes.
Like I'm into that. I like the idea of this animal with this weird construct of a jaw, and I like trying to imagine them speaking Abyssal, because Abyssal is a formed language. Knolls is just, an amalgam language.
Right.
So I like the idea of them like with a snake-like hinged jaw, like this badger hyena that actually hisses when it speaks because its mouth just doesn't work that way.
Right.
But if we take inspiration from the Harry Potter art, its tongue is stuck in one place, so it can only form the words without moving its actual tongue, like the base of its tongue, like we can.
Right.
Like I like thinking about it speaking in that way, because I am like, I don't know about you, but when I imagine demons, I imagine like this like weird dexterous long tongue. So that thing trying to bark out Abyssal, I think is an interesting take on it. But honestly, that's kind of about it. Everything else sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing that's fair, and again, we have yet to cover the base Gnoll stat blocks, but I mean, clearly they're designed to be introduced early as part of like, an overall Gnoll approach or Gnoll tribe or camp, that you can get going early on in your campaign. So I mean, there is that, but I think there's a lot of room for making this creature way better, just way cooler.
I don't think you have a choice. Like, there's enough different types of Gnolls out there that you should be using those. These are specifically written lore-wise that they're better than regular Gnolls, and they're kind of not. Like, they're right on par with the Pack Lord, or I think the Fang was a CR3, the Pack Lord was a CR2. Like, the Flint is in the same book, and it's a CR9. Like,
it's almost like they specifically designed them to just be a mundane mount for the tribe leader, without giving them really any love. Like, oh, well, they'll probably just use them that way. And it's like, no, they need more. They need a little more than that.
Yeah, I think these creatures need more love. I hope when they do another edition, or their next monster manual, I guess is probably more accurate, they do a Leucrotta. And it's just a beefier Leucrotta or whatever, right? Like, really play out.
You don't have to go as extreme as
intelligence. Like, reskin a fucking Sphinx and give it a bite attack. Like, that's the kind of shit I want to fuck with.
We don't have to get it. We don't have to get into the 30-foot long abyss one, right? You can have this creature and just be bigger, beefier, smarter. I like the idea of like the longer they live, maybe they climb the ranks, and then we get a higher stat block or something. And yeah, their intelligence increases. Maybe the more sounds they learn to mimic, and they manage to acquire full languages, and then they just grow smarter and smarter with time.
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned it yet, but Freeman's fictional Gnoll campaign we've been talking in the last couple of episodes. I love the idea of having one of said many tribes that are under Ranger watch. One of them being led by a Leucrotta. That was like the first thing I was thinking of when I was doing the research in this. It's like, oh, how cool would that be if a tribal leader died and Leucrotta stepped up and he just sort of maintained the position because it worked. And he just was a much smarter than the average maybe, and is an effective leader, and is sometimes at odds with the other tribes as a result, but sometimes gets along nicely because there's lots of other Leucrotta around. I also love the idea, and this just came to me as we were discussing the stat block. It'd be really cool to have a trio of Leucrotta that are blessed by Yinogu, and they represent one of the three flails that a Flind has.
And they're named Shenzai, Banzai, or Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed.
Exactly. 100%. And just give them some magical boosts and abilities that are reflected from those heads of the flail. Maybe give them some DR or condition immunities that are based on those themes as well. I think that would be really fun to play with. And they just make you could really increase the CR of an encounter with a Flind having his sort of trio of Leucrotta retinue or whatever. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, to kick it back to the Lion King reference, I would use these things like Scar uses the hyenas in the Lion Kings. You've got your big bad Flind, and I would bump these guys up to CR7 probably and use them in a trio, but be an underboss essentially.
Sure, yeah.
Give them a breath weapon or some shit.
Yeah.
Really play up that stink. Grab one of the Catablopus. Smell things, give them a stink breath weapon that's a cone and it does, I don't know, acid damage, I guess, or poison damage or whatever.
Okay, well, what about you, James? What do you have in mind to change, if anything? What do you want to homebrew? How do they fit into your world?
I legitimately would homebrew almost everything on this creature, starting from the CR or starting from the HP and working backwards. I think they need more of it. I'd probably give them some sort of barding, especially if they're part of a Gnoll band. So fuck that 14 natural armor.
Sure.
I like that they're large, but based on some of the descriptions we talked about, they're kind of just barely large. So I don't know if I would fuck with that too much.
Yeah.
Abyssal and Gnoll, I think, is fine. I'd probably give them common as well. I'd probably make them immune to prone, that kind of stuff, because they're a quadrupedal creature.
Right.
Dark Vision 60 is fine. Obviously, I'm going to blow up their skills completely, so pass some perceptions out the door. I would actually drop the strength quite a bit. Pump up the dex, pump up the con, pump up the intelligence. I don't see any reason this creature needs an 18 strength.
The only reason I would not agree with that is because they are a large creature. So it's to me that usually indicates they're beefier and they're not necessarily slow, but they're less mobile, less dexterous, less nimble,
right?
Say compared to a medium or smaller creature.
And that's kind of what I would want to change about these creatures. I would want to give them more of those horse traits than the lion traits, which is kind of what we're seeing now.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I want Gnolls to be fast. As a whole, I would up Gnoll's speed probably 15 feet. 30 just isn't good enough for me for a hyena that can run on all four legs,
Sorry, because I forgot to put it in the stat block here in the show notes. Their speed is 50 feet already.
Never mind, I'm not going to touch that. That's fine.
Yeah, that's significant. Yeah.
Keen smell is fine. I mean, kicking retreat, I think is... I get it. I like it. but I don't like it with a creature with an intelligence this low, because that's an intelligent move to be able to withdraw while kicking. Like that is a combat tactics, and that's not like, I guess that's a wisdom thing here, but I don't like the idea that these creatures have a beefy wisdom. I like that.
Well, here's a weird thing too is I'm prepared to be correct on this because it's been a while since I played my Cavalier, but as a mount, when you have a mount, your mount has limited actions while you are mounted, and one of those is just disengage.
Yeah, I mean, I would never run this as a mount though.
Right, but it's like almost like forcing that in there. But it's like if they were a mount, they would just already have that, alongside dodge and I think dash. So it doesn't. It's almost like another evidence of like it makes sense, but it's just barely a nod. I don't get it. It's lazy. It seems like.
Well, I mean, you can attack and walk away without incurring an attack of opportunity. Like that's pretty big,
right?
I don't really care. Like these strike me as the kind of creatures who would full withdraw.
Yeah.
Like these aren't the kind of creatures that need to hurt you on the way out. If they're leaving, they're getting the fuck out of there. Like that's why they're leaving, because I want these to be very smart creatures. I like mimicry, but obviously I'd bump up the DC to at least 16.
Yeah, I think there's room for like this. I think there's room for this Leucrotta at CR3. I think there's a room for one that's a very similar stat block, but all those things bumped up, like you're saying. And then there's room for an even higher. You go from 3 to like 6, and then kick it up to like 7 and 8 for another one, and just start adding in some really cool Yinogu inspired magic stuff, godlike boons and stuff. I think that would be really fun to have a couple of tiers of this creature.
So that's a big thing in 4th edition. Yeah. And I actually cracked I only have one monster manual from 4th edition. I actually cracked that while we were talking to see if Leucrottas were in there, because I wanted to see how they scale it, because I think 4th edition scales those lower level creatures really well. But I don't have it, unfortunately. I like Rampage. I would probably change hooves to mouth, because I want all the gnolls to be uniform in their bite. I'd also probably give it Incite Rampage while I'm at it, just because I like that ability a lot, and I see this as like a leader in the battlefield kind of thing.
Oh, well, you know what? I just have to make a recant, a revision, an addendum, if you will.
Sure.
The pictures I sent you were slightly inaccurate. These creatures do not exist in 4th edition.
Oh.
The two running together are just sort of bonus art that I found on the Forgotten Realms wiki. But there is no stat block and no art for 4th edition.
Right. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so long I'd give them Rampage, but I'd make it with their bite. I'd obviously give them Incite Rampage. I would want to make bite their primary attack. I'd probably give them, 1 bite, 1 hoof, I think is enough. I would also, I legitimately would give them a save or suck ability for like nauseated condition with their smell, because that's right in the lore. And I'd probably give them
that from Catablopus.
I would, yeah. I would lower the DC on it, because I don't want that to be the thing the players take away from this. Yeah, but I think thematically it would really play into like this Gnoll warband just stinks.
Yeah,
and, I like to play with all 4 senses when I'm running a game. So
for sure, that's the name of your warband, the Smelly Rats.
The Rotting Mutilators, I think, is what I would go with.
There we go.
Sweet. I mean, I would really want to play up like that the smell of death as kind of like a like an ill omen. If I were to play a warband, I'd also give them regional effects as well. But we'll talk about that in the next
from
episode.
Like the warband. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. All right, sweet. I like that. Yeah, already liking that idea.
But to finish off Leucrotta, I'd give him a breath weapon, recharge 5 or 6. 1d10 acid or whatever.
Yet again, I was like, I feel like they're just, it's so kismet that I did Catablopus before, because like that's what we said about that creature too. Like they should have a breath weapon, give it some poison damage or something like that. I'm with you for 100% that. Like especially if, maybe not to a lower CR one, but like a higher one, I definitely would.
For sure. And it wouldn't be like a cone either. I think it would just be like a It gets the multi-attack, gets 1 bite, 1 hoof, and then breath weapon if it recharges, which would only be like a 5-foot range, because I cannot imagine breathing, like halitosis being so bad you could smell it from 15 feet away in a cone.
Yeah.
I'm sure it exists, but I don't want that as part of this creature, because again, I don't want to upplay the smell. I want to upplay how smart these things are.
Yeah.
And that's why I would give it that Incite Rampage trait.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So I would just rip this whole creature apart and rebuild it from the ground up.
Thanks, wizards.
I hope somebody wrote that down. Maybe we'll release our own stat block and just release an upgraded Leucrotta.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be a fun thing to work on.
The Leucrotta.
Do a little, not a competition, but a little, you do one, I do one.
It's going to be like a CR12.
Yeah. I'll make it CR20, damn it. Fuck, imagine. You just like, Freeman, that's just Yinogu's stat block. Yeah, but with 4 feet.
I don't even think Yinogu is a CR20. I think he's like an 18 or something.
I wonder, yeah.
It might be a 21. I don't remember. But that's how I would use it. I would use them in conjunction with warbands. Like the CR might be higher than a Flint. The intelligence might be higher than a Flint, but the Flint would always be in charge, because again, that's reflected in the lore. So I would use them sparingly, so like 1 or 2 per warband, but I would use them as kind of like an underboss. So you encounter them really early on, and then they retreat, and then you encounter them again, and then they retreat, and then you encounter them again, and you beat them, and then you move on to the final boss.
I like the idea of like, one being, willingly being the mount of the tribal leader, but also like one being the lead in a ranger party of a warband, but is still mounted. But like, you kind of almost play with the perspective of for your players. You'd be like, oh, well, that Gnoll there is mounted, so he's probably the big guy. But it turns out the mount's actually the one that's running the show. Really throw them for a loop.
Yeah, I like that too. I like the idea that this guy or these creatures are like the leader of the scouting party. Like, we'll touch on them next episode, but like a bunch of hunters and a Leucrotta just running the scout party. Like, these are the vanguard of the Gnoll War band. And then, you kill all the scouts, but the Leucrotta retreats, or like it's watching you from a perch up on a rock shelf or something like that. Observing you, going back to the Flint, reporting on your tactics, like. And you don't think anything of it because it's a fucking ugly dog. Like, and make no mistake,
right,
listeners,
yeah.
These 5e creatures are fuck ugly.
They seriously are. Every once in a while I look at the art and I'm like, how would I describe, without using the descriptions in the monster manual, how would I describe this to somebody? Fuck, sometimes it's really difficult. Like, it's butt ugly. Is butt ugly a good descriptor?
Specifically in this chimera, there is a lot happening.
It's got a metric buttload of ugly on its face.
Like, everything above and below its knee joints just don't make sense. It's almost bird-like.
Yes, seriously.
Like the differentiation in the calf
weird.
muscle and the differentiation in the thigh and the lack thereof calf muscle is bird-like.
So strange, yeah. Yeah.
And it's got the reverse jointed knees on its back legs too. Like, it's weird. It's a weird looking thing.
Yeah, seriously, it really is. Oh man. Ooh.
Yeah, they really make me uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons I just never really looked at them, is because I just they creep me out. I do not like them.
I'd pet it. No, I wouldn't.
No, it looks like it's bald. Like,
yeah. It does, doesn't it? It's so creepy.
Yeah, it's weird. But you can check out our Instagram over at encounter.pod for all of those photos we've talked about. If you want to get at us about how you use Insight, or how you would upgrade a Leucrotta, or what CR you think the Leucrotta I just invented is, you can tweet at me at encounter.pod. You can get at either of us at facebook.com/encounterpod. If you have any good stories, or you've homebrewed your own Leucrotta, or you've created your own warband, obviously we want to hear from you. You can shoot us an email at info@encounterthis. Or if you're feeling crazy and you want to like a direct hard line to us, you can donate at any tier on our patreon.com. patreon.com/encounter this, and that will get you access to our private Discord, which I'm literally on, like, I think it's
every day.
It's like 16 hours a day. Like,
Yeah.
it's a hard line. And if you want to spend more than $1 a month, $5 will get you a handwritten thank you letter and access to these show notes that you should probably be following along for in this episode. $10 a month, and you can suggest a creature, just like our good friend Chris, who suggested the Gnoll Suite. I got permission to use his name in this episode, so a big thank you to Chris for not only being a good friend, a $10 Patreon. I'm not really sure which one means more to me some days. And most importantly, for suggesting gnolls, because these creatures have been a lot of fun so far, and I'm really, really looking forward to our next episode, which is the Warband, or the Army Builder, where we will talk about all of the gnoll grunts, the meat of your army, as it is.
The pawns, the cannon fodder.
Cannon fodder. Thank you. Words have escaped me after that little preamble.
Assuming gunpowder exists in your world, that is.
Which, if it does, you're probably playing the wrong game. But if you want to do the bare minimum, please rate and review us on your platform of choice. Like, you hear from all the shows you listen to, because honestly, it helps out so much. We definitely won't debut at number one on the iTunes store, but it helps us get seen and it helps other people find us. So we're lucky enough that we've had some people reach out to us and say they found us through Google, through some SEO kung fu. But rating and reviewing really, really helps to put us in the eyesight of people who like things like this. But most importantly, just keep on listening, and thank you so much for giving us your time and whatever you had to give up to get through that cultural lore. It means the absolute world to us.
Yeah, thanks everybody. See you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next week for Gnollvember Part 4, the fourth and final part, Army Builder.
Day 14. A ritual brought our minds together. I was assailed simultaneously by hunger and rage, as if some great force from beyond had reached out and commanded me only to kill and eat. Though it lasted a short time, it was also comforting to feel myself a part of a much greater design. What I felt was not the hunger of one beast, but the hunger of them all.
Okay, so tell me how we got from Leucrotta to Leucrotta.
I have no idea how that progression.
I really thought that's what this was building to.
Like etymologically,
there.
No idea. No, I just a side tangent.
Okay. You can cut that then if you want. That was a bad.
Maybe we put that at the end.
That was a bad layup.
Fuck's sake.